Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Waisberg. I'm an analytics advocate at Google, and I'm here with Feras Alhlou. Feras is the co-founder and principal consultant at Enor, a great Google Analytics certified partner and reseller. And he's also the co-author of Google Analytics Breakthrough. Congratulations on launching the book.
Thank you, Daniel. Glad to be here.
Great, thanks for coming. So, Feras, what's Enor? Let's start with that, and what do you do there?
Yeah, Enor is a global digital analytics and marketing intelligence firm. We help some of the largest brands out there make sense of the data. So we provide help with consulting, implementation, solution design, report automation, data engineering, really to help marketers and now BI folks as well make sense of the data, collect it and make sense out of it.
Great. So how do you make sense of the data? What's the process that you use to go from data to business impact?
Of course. So analytics is a business process. A lot of times we run into situations where marketers might think it's just a one-off project. Let me get an implementation of Google Analytics, or let me maybe just put a nice chart in Data Studio. We believe analytics is a business process. So we start with take a look at what we have today, sort of an audit, both from the business side as well as from the technical side. So we want to engage the stakeholders to understand about measuring what matters most to the business. If you're a demand generation manager, you're interested in maybe campaign type metrics. If you're a content producer, you want to understand how content is performing. So understanding what matters most, how you want to slice and dice the data in terms of segmentation. And also, once we have all that good data in place, we go to the reporting layer. So how do we report on this data? How do we pull it into Data Studio? Luckily, with the Google Analytics products, we have direct connectors into Data Studio. And once we have the data, once we have the reporting, the trending, the look and feel that makes sense for us, then we start to be able to analyze the data and find some actionable insights. And then we move to another layer, which is the personalization, the testing, and that's when you really can have an impact on the business.
Mm-hmm. So during this process, when you start working with the data, what do you actually do? What's the process of using it?
Sure. So there's a whole lot of data these days, right? Life used to be simple for marketers. One device, one channel, a few channels. So there's data everywhere. Mobile, social, web, of course, back-end data. I think one of the very first things we do is I think understanding, having context around that data. So there's the integrity of the data, ensuring the data is sometimes not, I'd say, clean. It was collected properly. It was maybe is it raw? Is it something that has been aggregated? So understanding a bit about the data collection and how the data was put together, and then understanding. I think what people miss is having sort of metadata about the data, understanding if you're looking at Google Analytics metrics, knowing more about the user. Let's say you are a subscription-based model. Is it a premium user? Is it a standard user? So having that additional data, I think, gives a whole lot of context to the person who's consuming that data. So I think understanding how the data, the quality of the data, and then making sure we have context around what's collected is really key.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I see a lot is that marketers, or anyone really looking at data, they're very focused on their internal data, right? And they forget to see what's going on around them, right, in the world. So sometimes, your business might be growing, but the market is growing twice as fast. So it's not that good. So how can we make sure that we are looking at the context when we are analyzing our own data?
That's a very good question, Daniel. I think a lot of us sometimes are very sort of single focused. So especially maybe in the analytics space, we get access to Google Analytics data, and there's a lot in there, especially if you've done a good job in terms of customizing your implementation. So there's just a lot of web analytics or mobile analytics data, but that's just a small piece of the puzzle. And I was really delighted to see that we have native integrations of things like YouTube, like the double-click data, things like, you can also obviously have data from BigQuery into Data Studio. So looking at not just sort of your own if maybe an analogy to PR, you have owned media, paid media, earned media, and I think in analytics we have those sort of same concepts. You have your own data, your own web and mobile data sets, and then there's social data out there. So if you're, can I say Facebook here? So Facebook data, Twitter data, Instagram data. How do we get a sense of what the sentiment is? How do we understand what people are conversing about our brand, about our product? So that you might not be able to stitch those two data sets together, but at least have some sort of correlations, I think, is important. And obviously, if you're doing a lot of paid media, DoubleClick and AdWords and other things, you want to take a look at that. So I think and there's a lot of available resources. Just Google Trends or whatever their latest name is today.
Yeah, Google Trends.
Google Trends, right? So that is very useful. If you were following the U.S. elections, you can look at things and see how things went. And if you're looking at social, as I said earlier, is really important. So I would definitely advise to have a roadmap. Maybe start with what you own, web and mobile analytics data, and then start augmenting your reports with maybe social analytics data, with just basically maybe quantitative, just maybe how many tweets and followers and retweets and reshares, and then maybe get a little bit into the qualitative aspect. And last but not least, a great product that was recently introduced by Google is the survey product. So I think that also gives a new dimension in terms of sort of for market research purposes. There's surveys that we do on our own properties, on apps and sites, to understand the voice of the customer, but also doing some market research. It used to be expensive and cumbersome and takes a lot of resources. Now you can easily run a Google survey, and if you do the premium edition, the 360 edition, you can do a whole lot more targeting. But even the free edition gives you a lot of capabilities to get that market research. What's out there, what the interests are of your potential audience.
That's great advice. So how do you think, going a little bit into Data Studio, how do you think Data Studio and better data visualization can help companies make better, more data-driven decisions?
Another good question. I think having that data available when you need it, in the format you need it, in sort of the trended way you like it, to the right stakeholder, I think that's really key. A lot of times, and even we've been in this industry since it started from 2003, 2004, and we fell in love with data at that time, and I think things were a bit simpler. But now, how do I make sure this content producer understand the impact of their content, video or text, on conversion or on subscription? So if I have a set of reports that are available to them in Data Studio, or let's say in GA, and you can go and get it to your inbox through a PDF, I think turning that into something useful and actionable in the right time and the right format is really key. Mm-hmm. If we send these automatic emails with a bunch of dashboards and sort of top-level metrics, I don't think those are actionable. I don't think people can be engaged and sort of make use of the data. But customizing the reports, the look and the feel, and the data that's presented, and having that available in the right time to the right stakeholder is really key. Excellent.
Feras, thank you very much for doing such a great job with so many companies and for advocating analytics for so long. And
absolutely. No, and all of this work, including the book, is really the team at Enor is an amazing team. I have to say that. I come out and speak about this stuff, but the team behind the scene is just an amazing amount of people, the best people I've ever worked with. So I'm really attribute a lot of that to the team. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.